For My Singing Monsters Playground, we have now been revealed towards all the characters, the hub world, and most minigames, but what secrets may lie hidden inside of all this information we now have? First of all, of course, we have our hub world, and my oh my, does this look glorious. The details in this are absolutely spectacular. The buildings that we can see have different textures amongst them, and it just is so gorgeous to look at. If you have a look at the different things you can see in here, you can make out that these objects that we see around the hub world actually represent the minigames themselves. Now, we know that there's going to be a free play mode inside of the game, so I would actually expect that this hub world is going to accommodate the free play game. Seeing as though the minigames can be sighted all across here, I think it would make a ton of sense if you can play the free play mode just as you're scrolling across all these minigames across the hub world and just play them directly from the object themselves. Each object, therefore, represents a minigame that we can come to expect inside of Playground. And the first one that we see is a conservatory-like object, which we have actually seen before inside of the Towerfall game that we went over previously. Now, it has been updated. The graphics have been improved in some ways. We've got a flappy flag over to the left now, if you have a look, and it looks like they've just added some minor details. Towards the back, you can make out a monster gold coin on a floating rock. That wasn't there before if we have a look at the old image, and you can see that some improvements have been made. Definitely not the most improvements out of the games that we are going to go on to in a minute. Then the second object that we see inside of here is a brand new game. Inside of this game, there is a flower in the middle, and we have teleporter-like bouncing pads that have been suited towards the Dawn of Fire teleporter style, which is really nice to get that structure link in there towards these bouncing pads that we have going on. I love the little petals that they have that they're bouncing across the pads with. I think it's really creative, this minigame, and I can't wait to see what other monsters may be in the background of some of these minigames. Even though we've seen a lot of the minigames, there are still some left, so I am excited to see what other monsters may be used inside of this. The shrubbery inside of this minigame is phenomenally interesting, I do think. It really showcases again what we're going to expect inside of this enclosed area that has now been revealed to take place inside of Wubbox, as it literally mentions playgrounds inside of Wubbox's bio. I don't know how we didn't catch on to that at first, but that's how it is. The third object that we see is a Thumpy, and this represents the Thumpy's Rush game that we have just got new gameplay for. If we have a look here too, you can make out new costumes for each of the monsters, which is really cool. Over on the hub world, we now have confirmation that there's going to be a shop where you can get different costumes from Noggin, which is going to be really epic to check out, and I do wonder how many costumes there is going to be inside of this game. The costumes just change the colors of the monsters themselves. It will be interesting to see if any costumes go beyond that. It looks like inside of this minigame you have to dodge the slime and the different platforms that are in the way and make your way back first in order to succeed. I think the use of the Thumpies is definitely very unique and is such an interesting concept. We can't see rare Thumpies, I do believe, here, but we do have all of the Thumpies and Epic Thumpies. I don't know the names, so I do apologize, but we'll just call them Thumpies. The third object that we see is a rocket, and this is the one which we've seen quite a bit of at this point. We saw it in the original trailer, and now we even have some more gameplay for it. Here we can see it in action. It's a running game. You're clearly going to be trying to attempt to boost these rockets up into the air like we originally speculated, and we can now see, however, some buildings in the background. The use of light in here is once again phenomenal. It really brings out the colors to this. Compared to the original footage, it seems like it's come quite a ways, this minigame, as the lighting is absolutely gorgeous inside of this now. If we have a look at the back, the trees and things make out to be a barn-like playground area for the monsters, and when the rockets actually go up into the air, we get a bit more of a view of the hilltops up in the background, and it's a really nice view that we actually do get. I am very excited to see what comes from this minigame, as I really like all the structures inside of it. Something that is very cool though up next is the next minigame. This one is represented by a barrel-like object, and it is so phenomenally cool, this one. It's got a monster playing around with the monsters themselves, and if we take a look to the side, you can actually make out one monster on a little pedestal, and it looks like they are controlling the movement of the players in the middle. So it's going to be interesting to see how that exactly works. And we can see Fangler in the background too, which is really cool. I really like how they added Fangler here. All the different things representing water, island-esque features down here is very cool. I do wonder what is up with the monster inside of here, what is causing it to make it move. We know that the monster down there, in this case Pom Pom, is causing the actual barricade to move and the tentacles, but the monster has got to be up to something. It's got to be quite devious, this monster who's causing all this havoc for the monsters. We then see a snowman, and this is yet again one that we have been over previously in my last video. However, now if you have a look at the colors, oh my goodness, did this get better or what? You can tell that it was a really low render last time, and they've cleared it up immensely. It looks so much better now. You can really make out the key features here. The next one is a spleef one. Now, inside of the original trailer, we didn't get that much of a preview of what it's going to look like in-game. It was definitely more cinematic footage. Here we can make out the mammoth golden structures that we went over last time in much more detail. We've got the torches going on, and even the Stonehenge-like fountains of sand going downwards, which is really, really nice. I really like all of the special effects that are being played with, and the particles look so clean inside of this game. For our hub world up next, we get a grand preview of all the different buildings that are going to be found inside of the hub world. It looks like it's going to be enclosed inside of the fence that we can see surrounding the area, but oh my goodness, is this going to be cool to explore around. We can see floating rocks up in the air. We've got a water tub structure, which really livens up the atmosphere, surrounded by a cart filled with gold. We've got several buildings inside of the middle, which are no doubt going to be involved immensely in the gameplay behind the game. I would bet that we're going to get some kind of achievements. It looks like, as if you can see at the back, we have a trophy actually, so that's going to be interesting to check out. Something which I really can't wrap my head around though is towards the back you can see a tile-like sign being held up to a building. I don't know what this could be representing here, and towards the back we can see one representing a monster, so I'm really clueless towards what these two buildings are going to be towards. I would expect that we are going to see the other two mods that we haven't yet explored, that being party tournament and single player gauntlet inside of the hub world inside one of these buildings. But there's that many buildings, there's definitely going to be some other stuff to check out, I would say, that we don't yet know about. Yet again, we have some amazing upgrades to the original graphics here too. If we have a look at the first object, it does indeed represent the tile matchmaker game that we originally saw, and oh my goodness, wait until you see the updated graphics, guys. Here you go. Look at this. How amazing is this? Yet again, they've took it to a whole other graphics level. It looks so fleshed out now. It's unreal. The lighting, everything up here, again, they're really playing with the atmospheres so well inside of these mini games. It really livens up the games and makes them feel so as if they are a part of the monster world. It really is coming together so clearly now how the game is going to be released and everything. It really is such in a polished format now, and compared to before, it just looks so much better. They've played around with the colors, made them much more brighter just to fit the My Singing Monsters style, and it looks so phenomenally good. Next up, we have our whole game, which we did actually go over last time, but again, we've got some updated features here, and it wasn't really a full preview that we got previously. Now we can see a very enlarged preview of this, what it's going to look like in game. In comparison to the original trailer, they have just added these flags, and it looks a lot more clean to me. Next up, we have a sledding game, which we have not seen anything of. In this one, unlike the other ones, we have a completely separate screen for each individual player, so it's going to be really cool to see this in action. And here, oh my goodness, does this look fun or what? We've got tons of slopes inside of this minigame and loads of Easter eggs inside of this. We've got tons of buildings surrounding in the background, we've got lanterns, and yet again, we've got our flappy flags. And I really like the use of this being an actual bridge rather than it just being a slope in itself. You can see that they've really paid attention to detail in the architecture behind these levels and making sure that they are really fleshed out and a part of the monster world overall. In this one, it looks like it's going to be a free-for-all situation, and I like how they're mixing up the mini games so that we have some free-for-all and then we also have some 2v2 and so forth, which has now been revealed to be the case. We also have received updated gameplay for the snowball-like area. This one has really not seen too much of a dramatic change, I would say. It looks very similar to what it did in the first place. In my opinion, though, it didn't really really need that much of a graphical boost this one. It seemed very fleshed out in the very beginning. We had all those structures. You can tell they've played around with the lighting a lot more in this, but other than that, I would say that we were pretty finalized with this one before, so not much has changed here. Up next, we have our donut game. Unfortunately, we don't have another preview of this, so unfortunately, we will have to see what it looks like, likely when it releases, or if we get another trailer now. In our next preview, we yet again of the hub world get a preview at the buildings that we can find towards the back, and this actually gives us a much more greater scope of what the hub world is going to look like. Now we can see them approaching the boxing glove that we originally saw inside of the first bit of the trailer, so now we can really make out the size of this hub world and how many mini games are going to be inside of this world. Unfortunately, we didn't see towards the left of the hub world, so we don't know what that's going to look like. However, going by the right side, I would say that we've seen most of the mini games at this point. Whatever's laying dormant towards the side at the left, I would say is going to be small in size. I wouldn't expect many mini games to be hidden towards that left corner over there. I think we've seen most of them at this point. In the very center of this hub world preview, we can see the spiky-like creature that we originally saw inside of the screenshot that we looked at last time. And now this is the minigame that I am probably most excited for, alongside the Water Island themed one. I'm really excited to see what these creatures are for and what the purpose behind this minigame is, as you can't really make out much behind what the creatures are doing inside of this little preview that we originally got. I really hope that we do see some more gameplay for this sometime soon, but honestly, it would be really cool if that was left for the final game, as this minigame looks so cool. After this, we see a boxing glove, and this represents another minigame that we haven't seen yet, so this is a brand new one. Yet again, we've got the flappy flags here. They sure love putting them everywhere, don't they? And I don't blame them. They look really good in the 3D style. This is another Stonehenge theme one. I am so surprised by how much input this game is putting into Stonehenge. It really shows what the developers are into, and I love all the Stonehenge inspiration that they're taking with these mini games. This one, you can clearly see that someone is going to be sat in the middle, and just alike to the ocean one that we went over, this is going to involve someone in the middle trying to take out the people on the screen. So it's a 3 versus 1 one, which we've not seen anything of other than the ocean theme one and this one. So with these two, we are going even further than 2v2 and free for all. They have introduced 3 versus 1, which is great, and it's going to be so cool to stand in that center and try and knock everyone out. I cannot wait to do that. It looks really fun. Inside of our footage, we also see the Dipsters too, which is really cool to see them in their home setting, as we do have the minigame with the Dipsters, which I have no doubt will be tied to the Dipsters themselves. If we have a look at the new gameplay that we've got for the new Dipsters mode, it looks really, really good. They really are taking stride in the structures themselves and how the monster world is operating in this playground area. Towards the back, we have a water-like trunket that the monsters are using likely as a water source, which is so cool, and you really don't see anything like this inside of the original games. So this level of detail again is good. We've got some weird stones towards the back which have that symbol on that we all know and love, that we see on the Wonder Mines and everywhere. Of course, that had to be put in here. And all the houses to the sides, the little cute cottages, really do add something. The lighting in this minigame really is so good. These trailers really do highlight just how far the game has come graphically. A minigame that I can't find the icon for anywhere is a new one. It has bags all scattered around in the center, and it looks like you've got to hold a bomb-like item from a minecart to the left and try and get all your opponents with this item, reducing their health. We've not seen health meters inside of the game as of yet, so seeing them here and another kind of mechanic is definitely very cool. Inside of the new trailers, we obviously too did get a chance to meet all of the characters, those being Furcorn, Mammoth, Pom-Pom, Enterbrat, Kana, Pango, and Kongal. And it was nice to finally get some clarification on what the player screen is going to look like, as we had no idea what that was going to look like initially, and it clearly identifies how that's going to work here. You can see that you're going to be able to change your costume by clicking the button to the left of your controller. This is on console, so it's not a clear indication of what that's going to look like on PC, which actually brings us into our new discussion. As it has been revealed, remote play will be possible with My Singing Monsters Playground, which means that we will be able to play with friends online on the computer version, which is so cool. Real quick edit from me, guys. I noticed upon editing that there was 4 buildings in particular, one being for achievements, one being for costumes, costumes and another 2 being left. So seeing as though we have the free-for-all mode scattered all across the hub world, I think those 2 buildings will definitely be for single-player Gauntlet, which we actually have gameplay for here towards how it's going to work. It's going to work in rounds, which is going to be real epic, and we also will have, I do think, inside of one of those buildings, the party tournament mode. It could be very well inside of one of the buildings that you select one of the modes, and the other building could be for something else. Mainly what has me thinking of that is that we've seen diamonds on TikTok. They posted a video and it had diamonds inside of it. That may very well be for one minigame, but we've not seen this minigame at all. It could just be the victory screen for that minigame, but we've not seen a victory screen for a minigame at all. So I'm really confused as to what these diamonds are for. We know that relics are for costumes, so what on earth are diamonds for? Is it another currency inside of the game? Is it for a minigame? This is something that I am just so confused by. And inside of the hub world, we do see minigames. I do want to point out that we've not seen anything of. We see Star Rocks, for example. We've not seen a minigame tied to that whatsoever. We see another boxing glove to the left of the hub world, and we see some wild bagpipes in the very center. I think the items say a lot about what the areas are going to look like themselves, but I don't think it gives a lot away towards what they could be necessarily. I feel like the boxing glove one might be a more free-for-all type of game where you're trying to get everyone off an area or something like that and win that way, but honestly there's so many different things that it could represent. We see 3 other minigames that we don't see anything of inside of the trailers as well, one being a Sugarbush Island rock. Yes, Sugarbush Island is featured inside of this game in one way or another. This rock is indeedly the one from Sugarbush Island. I don't think this is going to be involved in the game that this object is featured around. I think this is representing the game overall, and they've just put that as an Easter egg inside of this. I think it's going to be a Beats game. We had the Beats game inside of the Chinese version, so I'm excited to see what they could do in this party game setting. I think that this game could be really musically involved in comparison to the other ones, and that is the reason why this one particularly excites me a real bunch. Just imagining what they could do with a musical kind of game, seeing as the franchise is centered around music, is really exciting. And we also have a lifeguard hoop at the back of the hub world. I have little to no doubt that this will involve some water course or something like that. And most excitingly, out of all of the ones that we haven't seen any gameplay for, we have a vehicle-like one at the very back. This is so beyond exciting. The idea of having a racing game in My Singing Monsters, yes, I need that. The music towards the very end of the trailer and the victory screen that you see, it looks so cool. I really like the rockets in the background, and it really is coming together like we've been over inside of this video. You guys can see how much this has improved since the screenshots, especially that we saw initially. There's so much attention to detail in here that I feel like there's so much Easter eggs and things to cover. It's just impossible to do it all in one video. But guys, there is tons to be excited about. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below and make sure to subscribe too, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.